On this week's movie HighLow, we're talking Poppycock, space vampires, and Freddy Krueger chopping your head off. We can't talk long, we gotta poo. This is Fred Durst, the Fanatic.
I just remember when he was doing that accent, I was like, he sounds more Australian than anything else. But
Poppycock.
he didn't sound British. He sounded like Australian.
This week's movie is The Fanatic, directed by Fred Durst, released on August 30th, 2019. It is a low episode, says who? The brain trust at IMDb has given The Fanatic a 4.1, currently sits at a 16% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, was nominated for 3 Razzies, Worst Picture, Worst Director, and Worst Actor.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have a question. Was he also the DP or the cinematographer, Fred Durst?
No. Actually, Conrad Hall was.
So he had to tell Conrad Hall to keep rolling. Sorry.
Very nice. God, did you rehearse that thing?
I just thought of it.
Yeah, okay. That sounds like a well-rehearsed bit. That's good.
I literally just thought of it. When you said directed by Fred Durst, I mean, it's just the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah.
And if anybody wanted to argue with me, it's my way or the highway. My way or the highway.
There's going to be no shortage of Fred Durst jokes to make, I'm sure, during this podcast. But
and if anybody ever doubted it, he would say, you got to have faith.
But
go. That's really more George Michael. All right.
Yes. You want to read the synopsis for anyone who has not seen the film?
Certainly.
You going to be able to do it?
I don't know. Hollywood autograph hound Moose is obsessed with his all-time favorite action movie star.
Can't even do it.
Hollywood autograph hound Moose is obsessed with his all-time favorite action movie star.
Do the thing.
Don't look at me.
I got to look at you. We're doing a podcast. We're talking.
I know, but I keep just feel trying not to.
It's just words on a piece of paper.
I know.
I have faith. I have faith in you. Come on.
No, it's my way or the highway.
Psycho female blowing up the phone lines.
Hey, you doing this off the nookie?
Might be, actually, at this point.
We're
going to blow all our material in the first 5 minutes of this, so let's hang on to some of those. Keep some of those under your hat.
I don't know what's so funny
right.
right now.
Hollywood autograph hound Moose is obsessed with his all-time favorite action movie star, Hunter Dunbar. When Moose fails to meet and secure a signature from his hero, he quickly descends into a downward spiral of stalking and obsession. After learning the location of Hunter's residence from his handy star map app, Moose becomes a fixture in Hunter's neighborhood and eventually his home. How deep will Moose's manic fixation go, and will he eventually cross the line of adoring fan to dangerous fanatic? So let's get this out of the way. I think the first low of the movie probably comes in the form of directed by Fred Durst, right?
I mean,
I
feel disparaging saying that.
Let me break it down as far as let me qualify what I'm trying to say here. Not seeing his entire filmography, right? Just looking at this movie specifically and knowing that he was a writer. It's based on a story, I guess, that is somewhat similar to something that happened to him. The biggest
stalker that was doing that stuff.
I think so. I recall reading something to the effect of it's loosely based on events that happened to him.
It's probably true.
Obviously, not in the third act or anything. But the point I'm trying to make here, or how I would qualify this, is this type of material, doing a movie like this. First of all, this is not new territory. This story has been done quite a few times and done actually very well quite a few times. The problem that Fred Durst seems to have is I don't think he has any idea how to approach this type of material. The script is very poorly written. There isn't a single real character in the movie. It's all kind of one-dimensional caricatures. But even more problematic than that is he doesn't really know what the tone of this movie is supposed to be. It's like he doesn't know if it's a dark comedy or if it's a thriller, and he's trying to do elements of kind of both and not really doing either of them well. Mm-hmm. Something like the first thing that immediately comes to mind is something like The King of Comedy, right?
That's what I was thinking.
This exact type of story. It's almost
a master did that movie.
Right, Scorsese did it, and he approached it knowing that it was going to be a satirical comedy. But
he also came to the table with a completely different skill set and set of experience. He had a different type of experience and perspective in filmmaking than Fred Durst would. So it's it's going to immediately be just a completely different quality caliber movie.
There's no debate that Martin Scorsese's a more talented filmmaker than Fred Durst. That's not even what I'm calling into question. What I'm saying is that movie has a very clear point of view of what type of movie it is. Go to another movie like, for instance, 1 Hour Photo, which was directed by Mark Romanek,
And that's less about
who was primarily...
It's about obsession. It's not as much about...
But it's about someone who becomes obsessed with another person.
Right.
And
Not a celebrity
and that
per se.
director is not Martin Scorsese. That director is a music video director who made his first feature film, okay? And that guy knew that he was approaching that material specifically as a thriller, as something that was meant to be taken very seriously and be presented in a disturbing fashion. Fred Durst is all over the map with this thing. Like he's trying to do two different things here, and neither of them are working really well. He's trying to kind of have jokey jokes with the John Travolta character, and like I said, the guy's first line is, "Can't talk, I gotta poo."
I can't talk too long. I gotta poo.
So it's like he's clearly not taking part of this seriously. And then he's also trying to do like this really shitty voiceover, like super serious narration, fucking violin movie score, like trying to have these disturbing elements. Like the tone of this thing's all over the place. So you don't know if it's supposed to be funny, if it's trying to be disturbing. It's like the guy really doesn't know how to produce the material he's working with.
There was something almost that like felt like Buffalo Bill-esque to me when he was in his apartment. The scene's dimly lit and kind of dirty, dingy looking apartment. And just like the creepy way he would talk to himself or like sing to himself, or just the way he would basically communicate to himself in his own apartment. It seemed like it was trying to do like a Silence of the Lambs type of thing.
I think it was
almost like he was like you're waiting for him to be a serial killer.
I think
you're more surprised that he's not, that he ends up being just a genuine fan. Like he actually really probably wouldn't hurt anybody. He just wants an autograph and to like be.
But see, even that is one of those things that I don't think he understands what he's trying to do with that character. I think that character at certain points is supposed to make you think that maybe he's going to unhinge and hurt somebody, but then they also want to play it safe and do the thing where he's just kind of a helpless guy who's being pushed over the edge. The biggest problem, I think, is that Fred Durst is the wrong guy to make this type of movie. I think that there's huge problems just on the script level. Like, it's not a well-written piece by any stretch of the imagination. But if you had a more talented writer and a more talented director, you could take this type of story. It's been done before. You could make a movie like this really effective, and it can be really funny and satirical like The King of Comedy, or it can be really creepy.
Yeah.
Even something like, and it's almost the same name, but there was the movie called The Fan with Robert De Niro that was directed by Tony
and
Scott.
Wesley Snipes, the baseball player.
Right. He's a fan who's obsessed with Wesley Snipes, who's a famous baseball player. It's not a great movie, but it knows what it's trying to do. It knows it's trying to be a straight thriller.
Well, I know you like that movie too, so it's like, even if it's not
as a guilty pleasure, but it's not a great movie. But I'm saying it's almost the same exact type of story, but the first thing that elevates it and makes it better than something like this is it at least knows what it's trying to do. It knows it's trying to be a thriller. It knows it's trying to be scary or disturbing. This movie, all over the map. Why the fuck is this guy's friend narrating?
I was just gonna say, wasn't there a point where his girlfriend, like not girlfriend, but his female friend there, Leah, I think
she's narrating the movie.
Right. That makes it feel unbalanced and unfocused. And
why is she narrating? What purpose does she have? First of all, voiceover 9 times out of 10. I won't say 10 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10 is the first red flag that the writing's going to be bad, because they have to have a character tell you what you're supposed to be thinking. Unless you integrate it.
There's a lot of voiceover in Goodfellas.
That's the exception that proves the rule. Fight Club. I'm saying 9 times out of 10 it's patchwork for bad storytelling. It doesn't make any sense that she's the one narrating the story.
It ends, and I don't think it ends with her. And it feels like if it's going to open with her, it should end with her. Like, it should at least be. She should be a framing device. Okay, so but like the last scene.
Yeah, she's narrating the last scene. She's saying,
okay, well then that makes sense.
He lost his eye, and now it's a badge of honor. Yeah. He likes wearing his eye.
Well, I mean, at least that part of it makes sense then to me. It's like, it doesn't make sense that it feels like it's not really her story. It's I guess it's probably being framed as this girl telling her friend's story.
But why?
Almost like he's a mythical creature, you know, like, you would never believe I knew this guy. Let me tell you his story.
All right, I don't know. Let me put it to you this way. You want to, if you're gonna go with that frame,
it's definitely not from John Travolta's perspective. That's for sure.
But why wouldn't it be?
It's not. It could be, and it should be, but
a story about obsession, a story about a character who becomes obsessed with another person. I mean, it actually makes more sense for it to be told in the first person.
But it isn't. You know what I mean? Like, I know what you mean. I think that would probably be more interesting and allow it to really go to places that it can't when it's not the person who's narrating it.
How about this? If you're gonna make this completely ancillary character narrate the story, at least make the fucking narration good. Like, every line of narration in this movie is pitiful. When he breaks into the house at the end of the movie, the line that she's narrating is like, "Moose didn't cross the line, he fucking nuked it." It's like, that's just garbage writing. I mean, And you can't take it seriously, but at the same time, especially in that part of the movie, it's presenting itself as serious. It's this whole kind of disturbing third act that they're trying to get into. So it's like, pick a fucking lane here. Figure out, are you doing a comedy, or are you doing a horror film or a thriller? And if you want to try and mix those two, that's not impossible to do, but you got to write a better script for that to work. You know, none of these characters are particularly compelling. And I guess at this point we should probably get into Travolta. His character in the movie is incredibly over the top.
There's something so childlike about his character.
But I think
innocent.
I think that's the only maybe saving grace that they're trying to present here.
Like when you look at how he's bullied by those other like street thugs and
that
stuff.
stuff is
It's
such
stupid,
shit.
but the reason they're doing that is to further
make you feel sympathy for him.
well to see just how like meek and maybe good-natured and quiet and feeble he is, so that all the more reason when Devon Sawa starts to see him as a threat, it's like, no, he's actually he really just wants your autograph, and he's I know he seems like because he's an older guy, and you're stalking me and you're coming around my house, you must have ill intent. Please don't hurt my son. Like, he makes all these assumptions, and you can't blame Devon Sawa's character, but at the same time, I think the reason they had scenes like that with the street thugs and stuff that are bullying him and everything is to just further perpetuate that he's really just an innocent.
Right. They had those scenes because the whole sequence in the movie where they bully him, and then like the security guard shows up and is like, "You got to stand up for yourself, John Travolta," you know, and it's all to try and build that John Travolta is mad and he's not going to take it anymore. He's not going to get pushed around.
No
And
more
all
Mr.
of that,
Travolta.
all of that energy is going to get directed at Devon Sawa's character. Like that's just a device. They just create those scenes to make it so that there's a reason for him to go over the edge later, or potentially go over the edge later.
All like falling down too a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, but these are way better movies
I know.
that do this. Like this movie doesn't know what to do with the material, and the material is not even good to begin with. So it's like, I just think that the foundation of the movie sucks. And they say you can make a bad movie from a good script, but you can't make a good movie from a bad script. They started with a shitty script that wasn't completely thought through, and then you got this guy directing it who doesn't know what kind of tone it's supposed to have.
Sand, right? Yeah.
So back to Travolta's character. I mean, his performance in the movie, I think, is probably one of the. I mean, I guess in a weird way, I'd give it maybe the only high in the movie is that, at the very least, it's not a good performance and it's not a good role, but he's at least trying to give it some kind of energy by playing this character so big and over the top. So, I mean, I can at least give it credit for that. And it does, I think, unwittingly create some funny moments in the movie. Like, you know, there's this ridiculous scene where when he's going to visit Devon Sawa's house, where he accidentally pushes the maid into
the bird bath.
Yeah, into the bird bath, and she breaks her head, and he's freaking out.
Oh, I've had a nosebleed before.
Yeah, and he's
it's not fun. A lot of paper I think that's one of the things I wrote down. Lots of paper towels.
That's a nosebleed. That's bad. That's bad. I had a nosebleed. It wasn't fun. But you fix it. You take paper towels and you put it up your nose like.
I like the part where he goes to the bar and asks for a strawberry milkshake.
Yeah, I guess that's funny. But that's, I mean, this is.
Because I used to bartend, so I'm just like, you get people to ask for the virgin strawberry daiquiri and stuff, but like not usually a strawberry milkshake with real ice cream. Like, okay, dude, this isn't friendly. He's like.
Yeah, he's
like
so
because he's coming
unbalanced.
from a genuine place. Like his character, like, isn't. He's genuine. Like for whatever you might perceive him as, John Travolta's character is like sincere and just like. Yeah, it might seem strange. He's going to a bar asking for strawberry ice cream, or like he didn't mean to hurt that maid. Like that was actually an accident and stuff. It's like he doesn't mean to hurt anybody with the things he says and does, or, you know, even frighten them. It's just he's so different and misunderstood and lonesome. Like he doesn't have anyone that, aside from that Leah character, nobody really understands him.
Right.
You know?
And it's all about, I think that it's like, at what point are you, like you're crossing a line, but you don't even realize that you're crossing a line type of thing. So again, it's 1 foot in the door and 1 foot out the door. Now, you should probably talk about the Devon Sawa character, which this is, I think, another problem.
Gladly.
Sure. So you want to just talk about how much you love Devon Sawa?
I feel like it's worth mentioning for the sake of the podcast. I grew up utterly besotted with him, and I was convinced that we were fate because we had the same initials, DS, and we were both Virgos. And we both had Canadian ancestry, so I was like, "Oh my God, it's fate!" And I think he's part Native American.
So this is why you don't want to talk shit about Fred Durst, is you're afraid Fred Durst hears this, he's going to put in a bad word to Devon Sawa, and that's going to.
You figured me out.
Oh.
We figured you out.
And then it's funny because my husband, Dom, always loved Christina Ricci, and like I always kind of like, I didn't hate her. I always thought she was a good actress, but I was always jealous of her growing up because she got to be in more than one movie with him where she kissed him now and then. Casper was the first one, and I think there's another one I'm not thinking of. But, and I was like, screw her. She gets to.
I think Christina Ricci playing the John Travolta part's a way better movie.
I bet it would have been more interesting. But anyway, so his character in this movie, I mean, he looks very different.
My gut says that this is supposed to be the stand-in for Fred Durst. Is that this is
right? That's
in
the
Fred
character
Durst's mind. This
on.
is who he's playing.
Sure.
And I think that in and of itself is a clear.
So all the
indication.
more you're gonna drive around in your own car playing your own music, being like,
well,
oh, you like Limp Bizkit, like
the shoe
you like
fits,
me,
right? If the shoe fits there.
You okay with some music? You like a little Limp Bizkit?
Sure.
You like a little biscuit?
Yeah.
Yeah? Nice and loud? I used to listen to this back in the day. This is hot. Oh my God, that is nice. That is nice. Here we go, baby.
And that's the thing. This character, it's like, yeah, okay, the Travolta guy is obviously unstable and obsessive. And again, especially someone who's like a celebrity in the public eye, there's definitely, you have to have a certain, you got to be able to put up those barriers and know like what's okay and what's not okay. And obviously where this movie goes, the things that Travolta does are clearly not okay. But from the fucking jump, Devon Sawa is such an asshole to him in the movie.
I think that's the point, because he would like to believe he's such a nice guy. Like, no, it's like it crushes your dreams, like your image of what you thought the celebrity was.
Right.
Like,
but at the same time, it's just, it's like he's so like.
But at the same time, too, the first time he meets him, John Travolta's kind of an asshole because he's at that autograph signing and it's like,
right,
he's going to go talk to his ex-wife. But I mean, he was going to come back, but at the same time, it's like, you're going to follow me out here? Like, that's a little bit creepy.
Which is not
like,
okay.
Right. So that's probably why he would start off already being kind of a jerk to him.
Well, it just I mean, and look, he has to be a jerk because otherwise there's no fucking movie, right? We have to establish the friction between these two characters in order for there to even be a place for the movie to go. But it just like, what's the line? You wrote the line down. What was the line? He said something about, how about I give you a fucking smack in the face and that's a collector's item you're not going to want to lose, or some bullshit. Yeah. He says something that's just
he goes, how about I sign your face with my fist? There's a collector's item you won't want to take home.
How about I sign your face with my fucking fist? That's a collector's item you're not going to want to take home. Trust me.
So imagine.
I can't read my writing.
Imagine like trying to get Sylvester Stallone to sign a fucking autograph and he says so. I mean, I know.
I've heard stories like that too. Like people meet their idol or whatever, and then they're crushed because they find out like how mean they are. I've heard that about some celebrities.
They always say you're not supposed to meet your idols, and I think they even say that line in the movie at one point. I think the narrator says you're never supposed to meet your idols, but he couldn't help but go back to the cookie jar or some bullshit line the character has.
Cheesy, right?
There's definitely like they have to create the antagonistic relationship between those two characters, and I get it. And again, like Travolta's character, what he ends up doing is a huge invasion of this guy's privacy, but the character is just so fucking blatantly aggressive and like threatening.
Well, he's probably roided out and shit too. Like I think he's supposed to be a little bit like juiced up and.
But this is what I mean is that like
macho.
What I mean, what are we to
like the whole reason he has a whole thing where he kisses the maid and stuff? It's like for him, it's like it's a power thing. Like I do it because I can. Like do you know what I mean? It's like he's all full of himself in that way and maybe overly confident and.
I guess
what's that caveman like? I don't know. I don't know. I guess I can't describe it very well.
Well, so. Who are we supposed to like in this movie? Who are we supposed to be like give a shit about?
Probably we're supposed to care about John. Yeah, and you do kind of at the end when he ends up like stabbing him. That's a pretty cool scene where he tries to. Well, sort of cool, but when he talks him down when he's tied to the bed and he like convinces him to untie him, and then he like hits him and then takes him to the floor and then he shoots his feet, his foot or his hand.
That's when the movie turns.
It's his hand.
He blows his fingers off.
That's what it was his hand.
He blows his fingers off,
and then he like gouges out his eye or something.
Yeah, he stabs him in the eye with a Boeing knife.
But you kind of feel bad for him. You're like, oh, look at this poor guy. He just he poured an autograph, although he tied him up. But I know, but still, it's like, but yeah, you do kind of feel a little bit bad for him. Like, oh, he like.
Well, because it's a completely fucked up reaction. I mean, yeah, the guy's in your house.
I think ultimately you're supposed to feel sympathetic to the Moose character.
It's just so tone deaf and imbalanced that you never really feel like you get what the movie's trying to accomplish. Like, if it's supposed to be a satire about what it is to be a fan and what it's like from the perspective of the celebrity, right? Of like these people that they think they own a piece of you because they can buy your clothes at a store or a costume you wore at some Hollywood shop on Hollywood Boulevard. They now own a piece of you, and you have to. You're supposed to live up to whatever it is that they want you to be, right? It doesn't achieve that at any place in the movie. I mean, that's more like I think what King of Comedy is trying to do, which is to say like, I think I own a piece of the De Niro character thinks that this guy that's played by Jerry Lewis kind of owes him something, even the whole thing where it's like, I'm a fan, you're nothing without me, or however they frame that in this movie. Like it doesn't.
I think the movie opens up with that quote,
which is him. They're quoting the character in the movie, which is another thing that's so goofy. You know what I mean? That'd be like if Fight Club opened with a quote from Tyler Durden. You haven't even seen the movie yet, and now it's already quoting itself.
It said Moose.
It said Hunter Dunbar.
Oh. At
the beginning of the movie, it's goofy. And then if you flip it around and you turn it on to like a cautionary tale of what you're not supposed to do from the perspective of a fan and how fucked up you can be, how far you can go. It's not smart enough to be a satire, and it's not scary enough to be a thriller. It just is in this weird.
No, I know what you mean. It's kind of all over the place. And as far as like tonally, like, is it trying to be this kind of movie? Is it trying to be that? Maybe it's trying to be more than one kind. Well, not all movies can do that successfully, and this one certainly misses the mark on that, I guess.
All right, let's take a break, and then we'll come back to additional highs and lows.
All right, don't go anywhere.
Poppycock. 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 Poppycock.
Let me ask one question. So Devon Sawa's character in this movie is supposed to be some type of action movie star. Which I think that's a funny casting choice to put Devon Sawa, because the guy's never been in a fucking action movie in his entire career. But I mean, it would just seem like
nor has he ever really been like as big and bulky. Like
right. I mean, he looks big in the movie.
He looks like he's been working out, but like for most of his career, he's usually like the scrawny blonde kid.
Right. So I guess that's a weird piece of casting. But that aside, we're to get from what the movie tells us that this dude is supposed to be some type of high profile big action movie star. What the fuck is up with this guy's security system in his house? Because apparently, like, anybody can just get. I mean, Travolta seems to have no problem getting into this guy's house whenever he wants to throughout the entire movie. Like, literally at one, I think he hops a fence that's like maybe like waist high, like to get into the guy's backyard, and then he's just kind of in and out of the dude's house the entire time. And you literally see that they have like an alarm system.
I know.
But what's
that kind of stuff bothers me too. But I think that there's some that would argue, well, that's not the most important part. The idea of the movie is supposed to be how we relate to one another and blah blah blah, and those kinds of things don't. I can see that being like the defense for it.
That's the kind of bullshit people say when something
when they can't explain can't explain for themselves.
Yeah. I mean, it seems a little too simple for the way that this guy is able to maneuver. The other thing I thought about, and again, this is kind of just, I can't help but relate it to these other versions of this movie that have been done so much better. But like, there's the one scene where when he breaks into the house where he's kind of like in his bathroom, and it just immediately reminded me of the scene of 1 Hour Photo when Robin Williams is, he's in the family's house that he's obsessed with, and he's like taking a shit on the toilet, and like you see that he's trying to live out being in that person's.
Goes and watches TV in their living room.
Yeah, and he's like drinking a beer, but
making himself right at home.
in that movie, the way that pays off is that it's just a fantasy in his head. Is that then it's revealed that was all just in his.
Well,
head.
Yeah, there was a scene kind of like that in this movie where he goes to his bathroom and he's like brushing his tongue with his toothbrush. It's so good.
But he's actually doing it. He's actually just able to get into this high-profile actor's house who apparently has no fucking security whatsoever, and can just get in and out of the house as the plot requires him to.
Yeah,
which is really
it's
goofy.
Definitely silly. Yeah. And then like the scene where he's in the closet and he's hiding from Hunter Dunbar because he's like coming to change his shirt before he goes out. He's like, "Oh, I kissed the maid again." And all. It's like, of course you're like right there in front of him and he can't see you, but you're here just to hear the information. Oh, it's just, I don't know. It's kind of convenient, I guess. Like some of that stuff, but.
And then the other thing that I thought was funny is
what, the scene where he's in the chair.
Yeah. So then there's the scene where he's
asleep in the chair.
He's asleep in the chair, and he's like taking the like selfies with him and like kissing him on the forehead and smelling his ear.
I think that's the point. It's so creepy.
But this guy doesn't wake up. Like it's like, is this supposed to be funny? Is this supposed to be disturbing? is like you know what's happened. This
A
guy
little of
isn't.
both, but probably more disturbing.
This
like,
dude's not waking up with him like literally picking his ear and
Yeah,
shit. Like
yeah.
it's just. And I know he's supposed to be on medication or something. I think is what they show that he's taking
right,
pills.
so he's
but,
all
like,
out.
But still, it's just so. It's such a leap to even. It's so stupid. It's so goofy and like.
Well, then too, and is it like the next day that his little friend Leah there is like, oh, I told you not to take that address and go over there, and of course it's like, of course you did that, and you probably shouldn't have done that, but like, it's all over social media. Why would you be posting pictures about it? And it's like, at any point when later in the movie when Hunter Dunbar is when he's being held hostage by the Moose character, he never mentions that. Like when he noticed that his pictures are all over social media because of this guy.
I guess so, but
Why is that never mentioned? You
that's-
know what I mean? You'd think he'd be like, "You're the guy that broke into my house and took those pictures of me."
Yeah, that's true.
And the fact that he already met him a couple times, like he would know. He'd be like, "You're that guy." Like,
But
don't know.
there's so many character inconsistencies, and that's even one of the things that you just pointed out there. The Leah character, the narrator of the movie, you know, at the beginning of the movie, she's giving him 10 fingers. She's literally helping him jump a fence so that he can sneak into a cast party to try and get an autograph. And then she's in the party and she sees how erratically and crazy he behaves when he doesn't get the
and
autograph.
she doesn't know him.
So then she shows him this app that says like, hey, here's how you can find out where these celebrities live. And then later when she finds out that he went to the house, she's like, why would you go to the house? It's like, as the character who
It's
knows
like,
him so well, don't you understand that he's
Right.
obsessive and is, you know, the minute you gave him that app, that's the first thing clearly he's going to do. And then there's even a line later where she's doing narration where she's like, I don't know why you went back there. It's like, you don't? Really?
And then what about those like oil pastel drawings that didn't emerge until like halfway,
that's-
the third half, of the
those
movie,
stupid
third quarter of the movie.
so they show one of these weird drawings at the very beginning of the movie, and then for like an hour you don't see another one, and then all of a sudden in like the last couple of scenes they start like it's supposed to be a motif, like they're these like crazy drawings that happen, and like even that's not consistent because they do it once and then they don't do it for
There's
an
other
entire
movies that have
swath
done
of
things
the
like that.
movie.
I'm trying to place what they were, but I think that's what they were trying to go for, something like that was used in another movie. I
Yeah,
can't
but
think of what.
but at least
exactly,
it'd be
but-
consistent.
right. It wasn't effective.
It would have to be done consistently. You would have
Just
to.
feels like a ripoff. And speaking of ripoffs,
Yes.
before I forget, one of the lows I wrote too, I was like, oh my God, it's such a ripoff of the Cable Guy, is the scene where it's showing the Moose character as a child growing up in front of the TV and his mom is, you know, too busy preoccupied with boyfriends and stuff to pay any attention to him. And I'm like, this is literally exactly like the whole Chip character in the Cable Guy when you're seeing like this is how he ended up the way he did because he was just always in front of the TV and left alone. And I thought that was a Cable Guy ripoff.
Yeah,
There are a couple
totally
moments in
is.
the movie I could see like it ripping off other movies too a little bit. One could even argue there's a hint of Misery in this too. That's another one.
Yeah.
When you think about it, tying him to the bed and everything, and like I'm your number one fan. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
that totally isn't that something she actually says in that movie? I'm your number one fan.
Yes.
So there you go, totally Misery. So we've got flavors of Misery. We've got, I mean, like how many movies? Like if we actually stacked them all up and
Oh, I
counted
mean,
them, I mean, there's a lot.
This story again.
And
this
that can
story
be a
is
good
not-
thing, but it doesn't feel. It feels like it's just taking all the cool elements of other movies and trying to posit it like it's his own idea.
and then not knowing how to do it. And
Like,
again,
no,
like
Fred Durst, you didn't come up with all this shit on your own.
and even the end when it does kind of turn into like this like torture thing where
Yeah.
like he's blowing off the guy's fingers and stabbing him in the eye, you know, it's like they're at one point like he stops and lets him go, and it's supposed to be like this moment for Devon Sawa where it's like a revelation, like, oh my God, am I really this violent? But it's like it doesn't earn that moment. It doesn't have enough depth beneath it or like building up to that point. This character's just been kind of a
I
violent
don't know.
asshole.
I took it that scene more as like he just realized, okay, I think I've done enough to make this guy leave me alone now.
Well,
Do you know what I mean? It wasn't so much like, oh boy, am I this violent? I better stop. I don't think it was at that moment. I think it was just like, okay, I took out the guy's fingers on one of his hands and gouged out one of his eyes or whatever I did, stabbed his eye, whatever. That eye's gonna be messed up forever now.
there's
Like, I'm pretty sure he's incapacitated enough that he's not gonna bother me anymore. Here, I'll make a little tourniquet and push you out the door because I don't want you to die. I just want you to leave me alone. That's ultimately what I got from that. And then I just thought it was really stupid in the following scene where the police come and he answers the door with the shirt covered in. I'm like, why are you answering the door with your shirt covered in
and
blood?
then
Like,
and then he gets blamed. Apparently, that's the whole thing, is that he gets blamed for the death of the maid. Is that
But that's what I was thinking though too. I'm like, you know, this isn't gonna look good. You know, this is gonna look like you did this.
and then the other thing I hate is that, like, why does this character why does the Devon Sawa character have to have a son? Like, that to me is just such a
To act like, oh, don't hurt my son. Like,
right, which is again, it's just another. They don't develop the kid. The kid's in like 2 scenes. He barely has a line. It's like, hey, brush your teeth, and you know, and then the kid's supposed to be in the house with him while all the screaming and shit is going on in that
I
last
think
scene.
so.
Does this kid not hear this? Like,
I don't know. Keep rolling.
all right. So do you have? I mean, I think we covered. There's not a lot to say. I mean, the other thing about the movie, and again, this would probably be the only other high I would have, is that it's not really long. I think it's less than an hour and a half. I'm pretty sure the credits start rolling like an hour and 22 minutes into the movie. So it's at the very least, it's not a long film. So it's like you can at least get in and out of it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But do you have any highs for it?
I mean, some of the lines I thought were funny. Like, I mean, obviously the one that you said in the over theme, the can't talk as long, gotta poo. I mean, it's funny. I mean, it's like, who says that, you know? Like, if you were actually having a conversation with somebody, like, in everyday life, and they said that, you chuckle. You'd be like, I can't talk, I gotta poo. Okay. And then the line that one of the bullies says on the Boulevard where he goes, they're not people, they're fucking tourists. It's just funny. I don't know.
Scathing.
Sort of funny, but I mean, I guess it's pretty sad if that's a high. And then I like the line that Devon Sawa said, how about I sign your face with my fist? There's a collector's item you won't want to take home. That's a funny.
It's like Shakespeare.
It's far from Shakespearean, but it's funny. And then I think at one point John Travolta says to the Devon Sawa character, you just pretend all day. Anybody can do that. Isn't that what he says when he hasn't tied up or something? I can't remember when he says that, but I was like, yeah. You just, I mean, it's a really short-sighted, trivialized way of talking about what somebody does in the acting profession. You just pretend all day. I'm sure real actors don't look at it like they just pretend all day. You know what I mean? You know what though? There are some actors that you can tell it is just that, like, that you can tell they're acting and they don't really branch out or do anything daring or unconventional. But that's a whole other discussion.
Yes, I would say it is. I think there's a couple of other things that are just really kind of funny, but like just kind of tacked on too. Is that apparently like Travolta must be some kind of horror film horror
I know,
film
so
fan.
Barbara.
Because the scene you're talking about, the Cable Guy movie, and the Cable Guy, let's put it this way, is 1,000% a better movie.
And then he always has
this.
those obscure references to like TV shows and that movie and stuff. So it's almost like the same thing. It's like, oh, you're not in on you don't have this inside joke, like you don't understand.
But he's got like a horror film T-shirt at one point. He's watching Night of the Living Dead.
Mm-hmm.
He's when he's got Hunter Dunbar all tied up at the end of the movie, he comes in wearing the Jason Voorhees mask.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, but then he says something from Halloween, and then I'm like, that's the wrong movie.
He says you were better than Jamie Lee Curtis. And it's
right.
like, yeah, you're wearing
I know.
You're wearing
like
Jason
that,
Voorhees.
right. And you and I know enough about horror movies to be like that's not right.
It's like you're crossing the streams here, buddy.
Yeah.
And then the other, I would be remiss if I didn't mention this line, so I could at least edit it in because it's great. Is when he's getting picked on by the Hollywood Boulevard guys, the
Boulevard Bullies.
Yeah, but that guy is clearly supposed to be kind of like a David Blaine, like one of those street performers, but like magician guys who does like extreme shit.
I don't know. I think it was more. I think it had less to do with magic and more to do with like, look at the gross thing I'll do for money type of thing.
Right, but it's not real. You could tell.
I'm gonna shove a pen through my nose.
But he doesn't really do that. He's obviously it's an illusion. But anyways, that guy when they have the whole confrontation, when like that guy pushes him over the edge, Travolta grabs him by the throat and he has this line where he says, he says something to the effect of like, I wish Freddy Krueger would cut your head off and roll it into the street and it would get squished by a truck. He's got this whole crazy thing that he just unhinges and says. And it comes so far out of left field that like when it happens, it's like genuinely kind of funny just because of how wacky it is.
Yeah.
But
I think everybody dreams of having the perfect comeback. You know what I mean? Like when somebody says something to you that you really, it's like when you have that perfect buzzing moment, like there's nothing more satisfying than that feeling.
But it's never going to be, I wish Freddy Krueger would cut your head off and roll it into the street and have a truck run it over. Like that's never going to be the perfect comeback.
Well,
I mean,
I don't think you even recited it the right way just now. Before that you did, but
I'll edit it in
the correct way.
But however it is, that's probably not the perfect comeback.
But I digress.
So anything else? We had any other?
I think that's the big stuff.
All right.
Bigger than Devon Sawa's career. Oh, no, I was kidding.
Oh, boy. He's not going to like that when he hears it.
I know. I guess we're not going to get married after all.
Guess not. Blew it, babe.
No second marriages for either.
And you know something?
Although I think the woman he married, her name is like Donnie or something. So
really?
Yeah. So he ended up, although I don't know what her maiden name was, but as far as the initials thing goes.
Well, I've said nothing but good things about Christina Ricci on this podcast, so I still might have a chance. So we'll see how it goes. So we should do some quick housekeeping here. One quick change to the format that we're making is we've in the past have done the coin toss to determine if we're going high or low for the next podcast. Moving forward, what we're going to be doing is just strictly going on a high-low basis. So
Sounds like a memo. Moving forward. That sounds like such office talk or something. Like, moving forward, we're going to do this.
No, well, just instead of doing the coin toss, because here's the thing, it's like you do the coin toss, which is cool, I guess, because it becomes like unpredictable. Like, is it going to be a good or a bad movie we do next? But then it's like you end up having to watch 3 shitty movies in a row.
Honestly, you know what I find? I always have highs, even if like almost like the worse it is, the more highs. Like I just maybe because I enjoy things that are campy and schlocky and
clearly you had good things to say about this piece
I
of
always
shit.
do. Maybe I'm an optimist. I don't realize it because I wouldn't call myself that. But when I look at how I review some of these movies, sometimes I'm like, sometimes the worse it is, the more I enjoy it.
Yeah. And
that's not to say I don't enjoy a good movie, like Forrest Gump, for instance.
Well, even there are even some movies that I think have been considered to be bad movies that maybe didn't get a fair shot, and that might be. In fact, I've got one on the list that I hope we get to within the next couple of weeks. That is exactly that. Is something that is looked at very, very poorly, but I would argue is actually a lot better than.
Is it a surprise?
We'll have to get there. You'll have to tune in to find out. But
it's a mystery.
But no, so we're gonna the podcast is called Movie High-Low, so we'll go high and low. So this week was low, next week will be a high episode, and then we will continue.
Ride the movie High-Low roller coaster.
Continue in suit with or in progress with high.
It's like a helter skelter.
High and the low. Is it really like a helter skelter?
Yeah, because it's a ride. It goes down the helter skelter. Exactly right. When I get to the bottom, I go back to the top and around.
That's good. That's beautiful. All right, well, that was so now that we've returned, hopefully we'll see you guys again at some point in the next 6 or 7 months on the next episode of Movie High-Low.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Freddy, he would come and chop off your head, and it would roll in the street. And a truck would squish it, and the blood would splatter everywhere, and everyone would watch it.
I can't talk too long. I gotta poo.